I am asked this question every day that I'm on the campaign trail, and I wanted to take some time to explain what a moderate Republican is and why I am one. The modern Republican Party, or the GOP, was founded in 1854 in opposition to the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which allowed the aberrant practice of slavery to expand into newly created U.S. territories. It was named in honor of the party of our founders, Jefferson and Madison, who gave us the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. In 1860, the first Republicans won a majority in both houses of Congress and then the presidency under Abraham Lincoln. Almost at once, the Union, our great experiment, almost fell off the pages of history. Half of our nation met the other half at Bull Run and Gettysburg, and it was decided that the land would be forever free. So the 13th Amendment to the Constitution was proposed, passed, and ratified by Republican majorities. This is my party. In 1901, Teddy Roosevelt started busting trusts. Everyone is entitled to their American dream, he seemed to say, but not to anyone else's life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness. For the people, you can build your business empire, but not at their expense. 20 years later, those same Republicans fought half of the nation again for the other half and won for our mothers, our sisters, and our daughters the right to vote. Then came famous Republican head of the newly created NAACP, fighting segregation in the government, on the buses, and at the polls, with his son, the junior, Martin Luther King. This is my party. So you see that moderate Republican is not a modern Republican with modern ideas, but a classical conservative standing on the founding principles of our nation. You can also see that I'm not one of the first moderate Republicans, but that I may be one of the last. From the founding fathers to our own fathers, since generations before me, they stood up for each other on the street, on the floor of Congress, and on battlefields from Lexington Green to the Afghan Kush. They understood that ours was not a perfect union and that it could always be improved, but never, not ever, at the expense of our God-given and constitutionally protected rights. They did not appeal to public opinion, the press, or popular sentiment like the politicians of today, but to the Constitution and to the courts. They did not bow to political correctness or expediency, or take up petty issues for the Washington papers to write about, but simply stood up and spoke up for the people and for what was right. There are few moderates left these days on either side of the aisle, frustrated with the politics of popularity and bureaucratic processes that never get things done. The last few simply shook their heads and sat down. Congressman Trey Gowdy, for example, had a southern drawl and a booming voice of authority that he raised year after year in Congress for balanced budgets, tax reform, and a strong defense. He would say that the Constitution demands these things. It is not our job to tell people how to live their lives, but it is our job to ensure that they can live their lives without fear of their neighbor, without fear of their government, and without fear of foreign troops. It is our job to tear down the walls and lift up our dreams, to raise the downtrodden and speak for the weak. This is my party, the party of Lincoln and Douglas, of Grant and of King, of Reagan in Berlin, and Eisenhower at Normandy, each of them speaking of the same simple dream, a dream that the people they fight for will always remain free, that a nation is more than a color or creed. This is our country and our nation's history. And all of that history, all of those men, many of their daughters and their sons, including me, took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution against all who infringe upon it. The Constitution that says we are all free, that we all have the same dream. So I will not be distracted by the issues of today, Your voice will not be brought down by name calling, rather lifted up in the memories of our forefathers, elevated before the sacred halls of representation, and feared and regarded as the voice of we, the people. I am honored to walk in the footsteps of such men and to continue their work, to be a member of their party that stands for the principles of our Constitution and that has lifted so many dreams to the precipice. This is our country and a light of hope to the world. We have a legacy to live up to. We have major opportunities right in front of us, and we have big things that we are ready to accomplish. This is why I am a moderate Republican, and I think you may be too. For our fathers before us, may we carry our flag. My name is Danny Ellyson, and I approved this message.